Hello, YouTube land. Specifically, eBay resellers and people who are subscribed to me. You know who you are. I know who some of you are. So 615 people today. Brilliant. The reason I'm making this video is I got scammed on Vinted. I mean, I know better than to get scammed on eBay, but I've been sourcing a few bits and pieces on Vinted. I've been on for about 6 months, sold a few small items, and made some pocket money to spend. So anyway, I decided I bought a few video games with the money that I got from selling. While I'm scanning this afternoon, just through Vinted on a spare moment or two, came across a couple of sales, a couple of people selling things, and I thought, yeah, well, I've been sourcing and this is exactly what I'm after when I'm looking. So I saw a PS2 Slim with 27 games. I'm like, yeah, fair enough. Run-of-the-mill games, but it had it might have had 3 controllers with it. Anyway, it was £22 odd plus postage, so it comes to £27. It's a good price. It's not unreasonably cheap, and it's not, like I say, it's worth it for me to resell the games, and then, you know, maybe take one of the handsets out and sell the system. So I bought that. And I also saw a PS4 with 4 games, but it was a 1 terabyte. So I bought that, and that was £65 plus postage and buy selection, buy protection. So it comes to £75. So I've just spent 100 and change. Let's say £100 and change. 107 maybe, something like that. So both of them were scams. Within 2 or 3 minutes of both of them, I hadn't realised one of them, well, they were both 0 feedbacks. One of them had a sale, but no feedbacks as yet. And this is where I watched James Bull's video about this subject after having found out about these scams. Because I got messages from both of them within 2 or 3 minutes saying, "Thank you, I've posted the item. Here is your Royal Mail receipt." And then not sent a receipt. And I'm like, the fact that you've said, "Here's a receipt," and then not sent a receipt, just give me that little bit of a niggle. It's like, why would you put "here's a receipt" and then not send a photo of the receipt? Unless it was specifically for some sort of other reason. If you say you've posted the item and they'd said that within 2 or 3 minutes in both cases, and obviously you can't even go to a shelf, take it off the shelf and put it in a box for that amount of time. I'm thinking, what's going on here? And then neither of them sent a receipt. So I looked up the addresses, different IDs. Weird. But I've spent £105. So I wasn't going to leave it at that. I got straight on to first one I bought the PlayStation 2 from, and said, "Is this a scam?" I put a message, "Is this a scam?" Something else I did when I first got that impression was go through all the other listings for similar items, and I found one with exactly the same title. In both cases, same title, same photograph, a few pound more. Now, I hadn't seen those because they're in the different categories. You can put category of price limits and stuff in, and I had. So my feed of stuff that I'm looking at is within those price limits. And these other ones were a little bit more than my price limits. So anyway, this is how I think they get away with putting multiples of either multiples of the same item on under different IDs, or nicking somebody else's photographs and listing. So I immediately put, is this a scam? I found a listing with exactly the same photographs and title. Can you confirm who you are? Maybe I should get Vinted involved. And now they'd replied to me to say that the item had been sent within 3 minutes. I waited about 10 minutes, no reply. And I'm like, you're on your account all the time. You're on your account all the time. Otherwise, you wouldn't possibly have not been able to send this. So, fair enough. It's a scam. So I thought, right, I'll have to contact Vinted. So what I've done is I've contacted Vinted with those. I took a copy of that message that I'd sent them with no reply and a copy of their message with no receipt and sent it to Vinted for the PS2 one. And as I was doing the same and said, is this a message? I changed the message slightly saying, is this a scammer? I've received this, but I found a comparable listing for a little bit more at a different ID. Is this a scam? And I left it at that. And then I was doing exactly the same thing for the PS4 when I got a message back. You get an automated message. You get an automated message that says, thanks for your inquiry in the help section. Would you, you may have to wait 15 days past the delivery time. 15 days past the delivery time because it was sent by Royal Mail. And then you still only have a couple of days to reply past the time it was meant to be delivered. And of course, Royal Mail, red cards, all that sort of thing. Even if they aren't going to send it, they hadn't given me a tracking code. Obviously, that's, you need to do that in order to say it's been sent. That's why they'd messaged me so that I'd give it 15 days. Yeah, well, I messaged them back, and it turned out by the time they'd sent me that automated message, I went back into the PS2 section, I went back to the ID. The ID had been blocked and stopped. Now, I don't know whether it's because somebody else at the same time had been scammed and was reporting it at the same time as me, but it had been scammed, it had been blocked and stopped, and the ID had disappeared, and all the items in their wardrobe had disappeared. So I went back to the PS2 claim and put, there's an automated bit where it says, is there anything else we can do? I put extra help, more help, and then I put scammers, more scammers, and then and explained that the ID has disappeared, or rather, all the things in the wardrobe has disappeared, and the ID has been blocked from use. Obviously, this is because of either my claim or somebody else's claim, and all the things in the wardrobe had disappeared. Do I have to wait 15 whole days when really what I wanted to do was buy a PS2 with the money that I've spent in order to get a refund for something I know is a scam? And I might add, it's a refund from you rather than the money you'd be giving it out to the scammer. Anyway, I've got a message back within about 30 minutes. So at this point, it's about a minute and an hour and a half since I bought it, saying, we've seen your return reply. This is a person this time, not an automated reply. We've seen your reply. We've looked at the account. We've closed it. We've refunded you. Here's your refund. It's like, what? Yeah, great, fantastic. Really good service. I cannot fault it at all. So I then looked at the PS4 one, and that hadn't been looked at by a human. So I then escalated that. Any more help? And did the same thing. I explained that it had been done with the Royal Mail. There wasn't a copy of the receipt of the postage. They'd replied within 3 or 4 minutes to say that the receipt is here. 3 or 4 minutes of my purchasing it. Do they live at a post office? You know? I understand if you print your own label out, you might have a barcode with a number, a tracking code, but you don't have the receipt for postage. So it's obviously a scam. Anyway, I put that in a message, sent it, escalated it. Another human being, not the same one, replied and said, yeah, it's obviously a fake. We've decided, I can't remember the exact wording. They do use a script even when it's a human being. It's obviously a fake. We'll give you a full refund. And here's the refund. So I was scammed twice in the space of 5 minutes, but I had them both sorted out within 3 hours. I cannot say highly enough of Vinted's customer service at the moment. That's what I say, because it's human and because they took into account what I'd said and they did the cancellation and the refund. Now, it's going to take like 7 days to get the refund back into my account, and I understand how it comes out instantly and it goes back slowly, but it is coming back from them to me. Brilliant. That's all I can say about it, really. The way Vintage is set up is if the person doesn't have proof of postage, then it hasn't been sent yet. It's as simple as that. It hasn't been sent yet because they haven't uploaded proof of postage. They're giving them time to do that, and it hasn't happened. So there you go. Even though they said they had, but they hadn't, because there was no codes and there's no receipts. And the fact is they tried to give me a receipt, or rather, here's a receipt within 3 minutes of actually purchasing it. Yeah, it stinks to high heaven, that. And they accepted that, and I've had me refunds. Now, obviously, it'll take a week to get back in the bank, but yeah, I'm really happy with that. I'm really happy with the customer protection, and obviously they haven't released that money to the person who was trying to scam, or the multiple people who were trying to scam. So, checklist when you're buying from Vinted. First of all, if there are zeros, wonder why they're trying to sell more expensive items. If you're a zero seller yourself, like I was till recently, put really cheap swag on that people will take a risk on. Stuff under a fiver, a quid, £2. People will take a risk on that, and as soon as you are possible, reply to them in human language to say thank you very much for your purchase. Try to encourage trust in that. If you reply in a human way and say, here you are, now obviously you don't have to send, here's a picture of the receipt, unless that's what you expect you to do. When I've sent it through Every, and there's a tracking code, and you upload the tracking code, and then they can track it themselves, and there's no problem. And that's one of the reasons why I chose to only do Every. Plus, it's also really close to me, and the person has to pay for that automatically, and I don't see that money. It doesn't go through my account. Nothing happens there. The only money that comes to my account is my money. The buyer's money doesn't come to my account. Right, that's it. Yeah, okay. Hope you found that enlightening. Oh yeah. So, check they've got a low. If they've got a low number, check. If they've got like a mixture of numbers and letters as their title and zero feedback, I wouldn't be interested. if they've never bought anything. You see, I got 5 or 6, actually, I might have even more than that, purchases before I made any sales. So I've got some feedback from people I've bought from. Well, none of these have that at all. So it says a lot, doesn't it? They haven't bought anything, but they're immediately on the surface trying to sell things, you know, that are other people's stuff. So maybe if it's a very good value item and they've got 0 feedback, maybe copy the title, scan it, see whether there's any other instances of exactly that titling on either eBay or Vinted, and what the prices are compared with the one you're buying. Because obviously, if it's lower, which both of these were, not considerably lower, but reasonably lower, so that it was a good deal. I mean, that's what I'm there for, a bargain. You've got to start thinking, why, and then look at the pictures, and see whether they're somebody else's pictures, and then to see what else they're selling. If they're selling multiple instances of the same item, but they're all from different pictures, from different angles, on different desks, you've got to start thinking, have you really got 15 different places you take photographs? You need to be a bit of a detective when it comes to this sort of thing, and start realizing that there are people out there to scam, and they're probably going to try and make money out of it. I mean, Vinted Pro, it will open all sorts of other new doors for scamming, and returns. And they're not necessarily scamming the person who puts the money up in the end. They're scamming Vinted themselves, because Vinted pay out on these claims if they get caught out. And I understand how Vinted are. But both my claims were escalated within half an hour. They were dealt with brilliantly. And both of them have been refunded, and both obviously cancelled, and the people have been blocked and sacked off the accounts. Brilliant. All I can say is that's exactly what you need off a platform that's going to support you. So it's definitely improved since a lot of other scam alerts from Vinted came out. So all I can say is I was scammed, but Vinted were brilliant, and they've sorted it out. And you've got nothing to worry about with them as long as you are careful.